come with me now, or say goodbye to Claire.
Welcome to MojoPlays, and today we're taking a look at the 10 best Resident Evil villains.
Obey the voice of our Lord.
Resident Evil has built quite the gallery of rogues over the last few decades, and these are the ones that have stuck with us the most all this time. Which Resident Evil villain is your favorite? Did it make the list? Let us know down in the comments. Before we begin, we publish new videos all week long, so be sure to subscribe to MojoPlays and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos. The Bakers.
What the hell?
Rise and shine, sleepyhead. It's time for supper.
The Baker family, for as deranged and maniacal as they are, they deserve so much praise simply for how they helped rejuvenate the IP. With Jack's brute strength, Margaret's insectoid gross transformation, and Lucas's obsession with deadly machinations, this family gave Resident Evil a whole new look and feel with their themed mechanics and appearances. Oh, and a special shout out to old Grandma Baker for giving us the creeps throughout the entire game. This crazy family will forever stick out as one of Resident Evil's best groups of villains, and helped solidify RE7 as one of the best games in the franchise. Torres Mendez.
Close one.
Mendez is one of the big reasons why Resident Evil 4 is just so freaking good. Once a priest for the village of Valdalobos, Mendez became one of Sadler's lackeys, and frankly, he is the most terrifying of the bunch. That cold stare is absolutely piercing, and no one can forget that transformation into his parasitic form the first time they see it. We just wish he had a bigger part in the game. Perhaps have him stalking Leon in a manner similar to, say, our next entry, but maybe with a bit better pathfinding. Mr. X.
Jesus, stay back!
Sure, he may look a little goofy at first. I mean, come on, you got this Goliath stomping around in a fedora and trench coat like some film noir Hulk. One swing quickly showed us that we shouldn't make a joke out of Mr. X because we are just not gonna like the punchline. Mr. X is a real brute with his attacks, and his deadpan face is haunting as he keeps walking our way, unfazed by whatever we throw at him. Well, maybe except for, say, flash grenades, or maybe just a spray of bullets. Those flashbangs, though, they seem to blind him long enough for you to give him the slip, so is Mr. X the brightest villain? Not really, but he's no pushover. Lady Dimitrescu.
Ugh, so gauche. What do we care for bread and circuses? The man thinks suffering is assured.
We promise we aren't putting Lady D on here just because she's the sexy vampire lady who broke the internet. Ignoring the fact she's a top-tier gaming wife for just a moment, Lady Dimitrescu is actually an awesome villain. She is a 9-foot-tall vampire lady who uses the blood of her victims to make wine and can grow her bladed nails to an absurd length. And you really have to hand it to the actress who plays as Lady D, Maggie Robertson, for bringing a posh personality to the character while still being able to strike fear into us all. Or other feelings, for some of you degenerates out there. Ada Wong.
Not long enough. I see you still like to play games.
Alright, we know that Ada may not be a villain exactly, at least not a villain to some. Our sexy secret agent has helped Leon a handful of times, but the truth of the matter is that she has also worked against him. She is always so vague about her intentions that it comes off as if Ada is all work and no play, like she doesn't care who might be in her way, friend or foe, it does not matter, the job must be done. And you know what? Her mysterious agenda and allure is what makes her one of our favorite characters in the franchise. We just hope she one day makes a solid stand on the side of justice, but perhaps that's asking a bit too much. William Birkin. We suppose Birkin is a villain who became one against his will. Sort of. Once a scientist for Umbrella Corporation, Birkin was one of the company's brightest minds, having been a part of several bioweapon experiments, both at Arclay and at one of Umbrella's underground facilities, most notably and infamously known as one of the creators of the T-virus, which would lead to the creation of the Tyrants. While we do resent him somewhat for the disasters he caused, the encounters against him throughout RE2 were part of what made that game so thrilling. Plus, you gotta give him credit for each of his transformations upping the revulsion factor with every encounter. Birkin's just awesome, man. Lord Sadler.
What do you want?
To demonstrate to the whole world our astounding power, of course.
The sinister Osmond Sadler is one of Resident Evil's most cunning characters ever conceived. This guy is one of the very few who almost came super close to exacting his evil plans before Leon swooped in, made a bingo joke, and blew the island to hell. Prior to Bingo Night, Sadler had managed to brainwash an entire village and infest it with Las Plagas. He even managed to secure military-level protection to ensure his reign of terror. How he managed to get this far without raising alarms is beyond us. If only he hadn't made that fatal error of kidnapping the president's daughter. Mother Miranda.
I've heard all your arguments. Some of you were less persuasive than others, but I've made my decision.
Another cult leader and one of the newer villains of the franchise, Mama Miranda is more than deserving of being called one of the best. Much like Sadler, she managed to brainwash an entire village into thinking she was some prophet of a god when she was really infecting them with mold and turning them into lichens. This would eventually cause total eradication of the village, save for her 4 lords. Not only that, but she had an entire plan in place that involved the downfall of Dimitrescu, Heisenberg, Beneviento, and Moreau, going so far as to use a disguise to send Ethan to do her dirty work. She took everything from the people she lived with, and even though she too fell, we'd say her mission was practically a success. Albert Wesker.
Where's Jill? Thought you were with her.
Yeah, I know. We got separated.
Wesker is the one villain that will live in the minds of Resident Evil fans forever. Whether you played the original Resident Evil, or 2009's Resident Evil 5, or Umbrella Chronicles, or the countless other sequels and spin-offs we've seen, Wesker has made his mark in the series with his edgelord look and completely ridiculous dialogue. The impact has been so big that the 7 minutes quote is probably the second most frequently referenced line within the fan base. Either that, or I'm making that joke too much around my friends. I love that quote, man. That's my favorite. But the man has clearly managed to forever ingrain himself into our brains, despite having only been in a fraction of the franchise. Nemesis. While he may not come from the best game in the franchise, depends on who you ask, Nemesis is probably the most iconic villain of Resident Evil, even if he does look like he's wearing a trash bag coat. Regardless, it's his stomping, his roars, the power behind his fists that got us trembling the first time we encountered him. Old Nemi has been chasing us down since 1998, and not just in Resident Evil, but in other games too, like Dead by Daylight, Marvel vs. Capcom, SNK vs. Capcom, and the often forgotten Project Cross Zone. You cannot escape it. Nemesis will find you, and we wouldn't want it any other way. Call us sadistic, but that's the truth. Did you enjoy this video? Check out some of our other Resident Evil content here on MojoPlays, and don't forget to subscribe for more great stuff every day.